So let's talk about technology in the property sector. The property industry, estate agency in particular, has been largely untouched by technology, it's fair to say, with the exception of bits and pieces in the way of desktop software, and I guess the advent of Rightmove 15 years ago and Zoopla about 8 or 9 years ago. What's now happening in the property space, though, is the advent of prop tech, which I think we're pretty much at the centre of. Essentially, technology in property is something that we're certainly embracing to make the consumer journey much, much easier. And frankly, rather than having inaccessible estate agents that are open sort of 9 to 5, close on a Saturday afternoon, close on a Sunday, actually close at the times that you probably want to use them and communicate with them, property technology, as we've built by way of our Hero 2 platform, is something that allows the customer to do an element of what they want to do in terms of their listing and their transaction themselves. So for instance, booking viewings in advance by way of diary slots, looking at statistics from Rightmove, being able to upload extra photos, change a price at 3 o'clock in the morning if they want to do that. So far pretty basic stuff, but actually in the scheme of things, because the property industry has been so backward, actually quite innovative, and obviously we believe that with the advent of things like AI and augmented reality and virtual reality and other innovations that actually our technology from the foundation we built already will actually get very, very interesting and very usable over the coming sort of months and years in any case. But technology has really been resisted by the traditional estate agency sector. They believe that a person, so a guy in a shiny suit driving a Mini with his sunglasses on his head, really should be the conduit between the buyer and the seller. And frankly, notwithstanding the fact that they're only around for a particular part of the day, generally less than half of it, we actually believe that the consumer wants to be further empowered. They want to be in control. They want accessibility. They don't want the estate agent to get in the way. So technology, we believe, is very, very important. It's also one of the reasons that we're able to charge a fee that's substantially less than the high street. So typically in the high street, you'll see the likes of Bears to Ease, Foxtons, Connells and so on charging £3,500 plus VAT, whereas the likes of eMove, as a leading online hybrid estate agent, we're charging £795 only. The reason we're able to do that is that, first of all, we operate across the country from one place, so premises here in Brentwood, but with local property directors, but also the technology allows us basically to do a lot more work per individual within the eMove business and per customer than traditional estate agents can. So the scalability of businesses like ours benefit the customer really, not just in terms of that visibility and that empowerment, but also as a knock-on effect in terms of the cost that we're able to charge the customer. So technology, very, very important. One thing I would say though is that where technology now is starting to really take centre stage in the estate agency industry, albeit, as I've said, some laggards are rather lagging behind, is that technology is not the be-all and end-all. So one or two of our competitors are trying to build platforms that will take the consumer from the beginning of a transaction, so when they list their home, or in fact even before that, when they inquire, when they ask for a valuation, all the way through viewing feedback, offer, sales progression and so on, using technology only, so a very sort of Amazon type approach. And we're actually unique in that we're resisting that, in that we think that technology, as I've said, has a very, very important part to play in what we do in empowering the customer and making things more accessible and efficient and so on. But actually there are certain parts of the process outside of simply uploading photos and changing a price where a proper professional negotiator stroke valuer stroke sales progression expert should actually be in place to help the consumer. So uniquely, although technology is very important for us at eMove, we're also ensuring that via our growing number of customer service, sales and negotiation and sales progression professionals, that we're also there to hold the customer's hand throughout the process as well. So if you do want to speak to somebody for a viewing, or you do want to be in touch with your sales progressor to ask if your buyers had their survey done or a mortgage offer's been produced and so on, you can actually also do that by way of direct communication with a negotiator, a member of the eMove staff. And what we think is very, very important is when it comes to two specific things really, having somebody there to qualify the buyer to make sure that they have sold the home that they say they've sold, that they've got a mortgage and so on. Ensuring that qualification process is done properly cannot be done through technology. It has to be done by a proper professional human being. And by the same token, the reason that we now achieve a higher figure than high street estate agents is also because we are very, very good on a manual basis at making sure that we're negotiating the best price for the seller. So again, instead of leaving it to some eBay type forum where an offer comes in and it's requested of the seller to say yes or no, and the seller says no, and that's the end of it, which is the case with some of our competitors, we ensure that, again, through proper professional human interaction, offers are made to the seller by us on behalf of the buyer, that we've qualified that buyer already, and that we ensure that we negotiate as high as we can a price for that particular seller. So technology helps that process, but it's very, very much people driven, and I think that's very, very unique insofar as our proposition versus both the high street and other online and hybrid competitors, that we actually blend people and technology in a pretty perfect way. So look, that's kind of where I am on technology, I guess. Very, very important, not the be all and end all, but we're the best at it for sure.